So today I'm going to be talking about dance and how movement is an amazing catalyst to really tap into your body. Now, you do not have to be a top grade dancer to do this. Just because you are really good at dancing doesn't mean you aren't storing deep subconscious traumas in your body. So when you are utilizing movement, and for me, dance is such an amazing tool because not only are you getting music, you are given instructions that you can follow and you can get into quite mindlessly, especially during warm-ups. I will share with you this one time. I had an experience where I moved because I knew I needed to focus on my healing journey. I was having early onsets of Parkinson's, and I knew the benefits you could get from physical movement and just physical stimulation. And I also knew that that's how I communicate. I'm very kinesthetic. So I'm very much more somatic and right brain dominant. So I was like, okay, let me do this. I also had the understanding that when it comes to Parkinson's, you need to stimulate both the right brain and the left brain if you are to counteract the symptoms that are presented, which is why they encourage Parkinson patients to do boxing, because you're doing left and right brain movements. When I entered into this dance class, it was an intro to dance contemporary because I wanted something that was more free form, not so constricted. And I also wanted just to really start off slow, work on my foundations. So when I was in my dance class, it took me a little bit of time, but I loved the music he would play. And I was just really being present. I made it my intention to stay fully present in my body and feel where I had restrictions on my left, on my right, and to really breathe deep and honor those areas that needed more attention. Because I knew prior to this, I had done a yoga class, and I was very aware that if you move past these areas that need this integral consciousness, you will blow past an area of your body that's saying, hey, look at me. And I did Ashtanga yoga for 6 months in my massage training, and this teacher had us do these poses for 5 minutes. And it was within those 5 minutes, you were breathing, you were struggling, all these things, like you were really meeting all those edges. By the end of it, my spine completely adjusted. I remember just feeling so high and being like, oh, this is amazing, just because I held these poses for so long. So I took that knowledge and then I took it into this dance class. And so I would move very slowly. And I remember while I was listening and just in this space where I felt very safe, and this teacher let me just kind of flow, do my movements. There was no real judgment there. So while I was in that movement, I was breathing. I breathed into these hip movements. And I remember we were laying on the ground and I just started crying because it was the first time I felt safe in my body. Just thinking about it, it's like, wow. Whew. Because I've experienced sexual assault, and that trauma on my body, you don't realize it. And this is where somatic therapy is very important. I talked it. I rationalized it. I could logically tell you what happened, why it happened. I blamed myself. I also got a lot of shame put on me by my family. I was not met with love. I was not met with any type of care. So when it came to that dancing experience, it showed me just how much of emotions can be stored in our body. And it showed me just how much I had held inside myself. And it also gave me so much hope of what I could heal if I kept incorporating somatic therapy, somatic movements, integrating the somatic, the subconscious, the body with the mind, the logical, and making them become one. For me, dance is a divine connection to grace. And grace is a feminine energy and archetype. The divine mother is divine feminine. She is grace. She's very different than the masculine archetypes that most of our world knows of and has been taught, and there's nothing wrong with that. There are many pieces to this puzzle, but grace is one of them. And that wasn't the first time that I experienced this grace while dancing. It's such a powerful thing because it's really moving this energy. But as I've gotten older and as I've worked through my stuff and really dove into my deeper understanding of all this work around the somatic, the body, the energy systems, when you go into it with that intention of, I want to see you, show me what you need, because again, a lot of our somatic stuff could very much so be tied into our inner child, how we weren't seen, how we weren't loved, how we weren't held. And by taking that time to say, I want to see you, is so powerful. I want to hold you, because when you're moving and you're not forcing yourself, because again, I've noticed this, when people move, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. And the main reason for this is when you have been moving and creating your life around these blockages, you might be extremely flexible, but your trauma is right here, this tiny little movement, and you need to be so cognizant within your body and start listening to it. And I will be posting some tips and tricks on how to start bringing your body into alignment, how you can start tapping in, because I understand that it's a process. But that's why I like dance classes, because they give you enough structure and then you can play within that. They give you a space where, that's why I like beginning classes. Everyone is learning. There is no judgment, and you can just really be in that beginner energy and that freshness. There's no intense ego. Well, there might be. But you can just play and just be yourself and enjoy that. And if you want to continue on and brings you that much joy, continue on. And try out different styles of dance. I found that some offered me that entryway into my somatic experience more readily than others. Because I am a survivor of sexual assault, and it's happened multiple times, pole dancing was very healing for me. Probably the most healing, more healing than this contemporary dance class. I had really big emotional releases of feeling safe, of feeling in my body, of that joy of, I just get to be in my body. I didn't realize how disconnected and disassociated I was. Even though I'm someone who's very sensitive, very kinetically, tactilely tapped into our world, I was still on some levels so disconnected from my body. And I believe that is why I was having the Parkinson's, was because there was a huge disassociation from my body and my mind. And the more I dove into this work, it didn't just tap into the sexual trauma, it tapped into my genetics, it tapped into my ancestral trauma. And as I started to work through that, that's when a lot of these things started coming up and out of my body. And so I made it a point to always have some form of dance in my life, either it be at home, either it be going out to be in a live venue and taking the music and taking that experience, or go to dance classes. I make time for that now. It comes to dance, there's something about it that is a universal language, so it allows you to tap into higher energies. It's a dedication and a time to you. You've created a sacred space for it. It's so important to create those sacred spaces to have those experiences. And it's for fun, not for achievement. And it was something that I was gifting myself, and I was being present. And it was that time between me, myself, and the music, and the intention of, show me what you need. Show me what you got. So, Rick and Morty. Show me what you got. One of my favorite things is show me joy. Don't wait to dance in joy. How can you get there? The journey of dance is getting you to joy. And sometimes you will journey through a lot of different emotions, a lot of different things. And that's when you just take note at the end of every practice. This is what I felt. This is what was going on. And that's stuff that you can then either take to a somatic therapist, have them work through that. You can go to an energy healer. You can go to a therapist, do smart therapy. There's a lot of different therapies out there that you can utilize, but I am a big believer that if you do the somatic work, it gives you more to work with when you actually go into your therapy sessions. And it helps you get to a resolve quicker and faster. It's been so powerful for me, especially incorporating it with the somatic work of magnet therapy frequencies. This is something that I've created, and I have found it really helps to release the chronic holding patterns that are subconsciously in the body as well as in the energetic field. And I have 3 different courses that are available now. You can click the link. I'll have it in the description. I also have in the works a big course that deals with clearing the emotions that are tied to addictions, because all addictions, if you boil them down, are based around emotions. It's amazing because it allows you to see what was yours and what was someone else's. It really allows you to step into your role of being your self-healer. And I found on my healing journey that consistency was key. So I created different styles of magnet therapy frequencies so you can utilize them at any time, anywhere, and add them in with any other modality. That's the amazing part of it. So if you are someone who would like to be informed when the emotional addiction course is out, you can join my email list. I have that linked in the description as well. And I just want to wrap this up by saying, when it comes to dance, it is a universal language that is tapped into the energy of grace. To me, it's cleansing water. It's the healing waters. I just feel it flowing through my body as I say it. And grace is something that I've experienced a lot in my life, and I would love for it to be experienced more readily. So if dance is something that's always called to you, or a certain style of dance, I couldn't recommend doing it more, because it's committing to yourself. It's showing yourself self-care, self-love, and it's really allowing you that moment to say, hey, I'm committing to myself. Hey, I'm showing up, which can be very healing for your inner child. And when you show up, you just stay so present within yourself. There's no judgment. And I guarantee you'll find some magic. I know for me, who has worked through a lot of complex trauma, dance has been an amazing resource. And I did different styles of dance, and I encourage you to find the one that lights you up. Generally, I tell people, if there's something you've wanted to try it, because your body is telling you, I need this, I want this. So listen to your body. And when you go into those classes, disconnect your mind and be like, how can I serve you today? Be of service to yourself. Because that's what I found on this healing journey. We are taught how to serve other people. But when you are serving your inner self, it's not the ego. You're tapping into that higher self, into that subconscious. And when you're moving, you can get very present. And again, it allows you to get in those trance states that allow you to dive past the brain into the body and into the subconscious. But it requires you to not let your ego override you and say, oh, I need to do better than everyone else. Oh, I need to be able to keep up with everyone else. Oh, I'm slowing everyone down. You'll get that riffraff all in your brain. And when you just say, I need this, screw everybody else. This is my time. This is my space. And I'm going to take it up how I need. Watch the magic happen.